Well, g'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. All right, at the moment I have a plethora of oregano, or oregano for the Americans, out in the garden. Now, when you have an abundance of it, that's the time to start saving some. Now, in the old days, you would have made it up into a posy, much like this one, which is a bunch of herbs tied together, and you hang it up near a hot spot and it dries off. You could also mix your herbs together, make a bouquet garni, to use the French term. And then when you're cooking, you grab your dry bunch of herbs, you give it a rub, and you get the herbs down from that into the pot. So, you know, that's the traditional way of doing it. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to dry them up, and I'm going to do it in two forms. I'm going to save the leaves, which is kind of like the rubbed one, and I'm also going to do a powder with it. I much prefer the powder when I'm cooking, to put in a dough or something like that, because it doesn't have the bits in it and it just seems to go much better. So let's get to it. Okay, so when I'm harvesting, I tend to pull the stalks off. This hard woody section there, that is absolutely no good for it. What we want is the tender leaves and parts like that. So just go through, pluck those off, and I just put them straight into a colander. Just having a look as you go for any bugs. I did find, when I was harvesting them out there, a beautiful little baby praying mantis, which is awesome to see that out in the garden. When it starts getting a bit stalky like that, it's grown a bit more, just take the leaves and leave the stalk. These little flower parts on the end, they are absolutely fine. Absolutely fine to keep those, and we will just pluck those off. Okay, there's one strand. I'll go through, do the rest of this lot. I do have a bunch more that aren't tied up in this posy. Once I've got them all picked off, then I'm going to do the washing stage. It's easier to wash them without the stalks attached, just with the green part. Just wash them off in fresh water. Again, we're just making sure anything bad's washed away from them. So I'll go through, get that organised, and then we'll whack them in the dryer. Okay, and there we go. There we have 9 trays full, some of them very full, of oregano, ready to go. Close the door up, turn it on. I try to go for a low temperature, so about 50 Celsius, and I'll let that run for 12 hours and see how it is. During that time, those shells that are overstacked, I'll give them a bit of a shuffle as things start to dry out a bit and there's a bit more space on there. Here we are, 12 hours of drying later. I ended up turning the temperature down to 45 degrees Celsius. Not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, and it was plenty to do it. I started getting a little bit too much browning at the 50 degrees, so yeah, just turned it down a bit and kept the color. All right, so now we are nice and dry, and this is why I really like these silicone mats for this. Just lift it up like so. There's the bowl. And just tip it in there. Like I said, I did have a fair bit of oregano to dry. As you can see, I've got a fairly large bowl worth of it. And it was a good thing I did, because my oregano is all empty. All right, now couple of choices when we get to this stage. We can either use a chopper style blade and mince it down with that. We can powder it down with this one, which is a grinder style blade, which I'm going to do. But for this container here, what I'm going to do is a rubbed version. So I'll just pick up a handful of it, just squeeze it in the hands and give it a rub. And by doing that, I should be able to keep all of the veins of the leaves in my hand. So, and those are the bits I don't want in there. Just pull them out. Anything that hasn't busted up with that finger pressure just comes out. Alright, again I've got that silicone mat underneath, so when I'm done I can just pick it up and put it in there. Alright, well I'll go through and do this jar and then we'll do the grinding. There's my jar full of my rubbed oregano, all looking lovely. And next I'm going to do the powdered oregano. So into the grinder. Don't want to cram it full. Put a decent amount in there. Over the lid. Just a couple of pulses like that, I'll just let it chop a bit and knock it down. And then once I've got it fairly fine, I'll give it a good go just so I can turn it to a powder. Okay, and there we have our oregano powder. So I will just finish off the rest of this lot. All done. You can see how much the powder breaks it down. We end up with a tiny little amount compared to the rub leaves. So when you're cooking and using the powder, you want to use a much smaller amount because it is a lot stronger. It's broken down a lot further, so there's going to be less air gaps in it when you measure it. All right, there we go. Thank you very much everyone for watching, and bye for now.